There is a subtle yet dangerous request that many women have heard, often cloaked in concern, in affection, or in the illusion of peace. It's the request for silence. But don't talk about this. Let's keep this between us. Oh, you're overreacting. These words may seem small at first, harmless even, but they are warning signs. When someone repeatedly asks you to stay quiet, to hide your truth, or to silence your pain, they are not protecting a relationship. They are protecting their control over you. Silence in this context is not about wisdom or patience. It is about power. When a woman is told not to speak up, especially when something wrong has been done to her or around her, she's being asked to surrender her power. And when power is surrendered too many times, it turns into a pattern, one where the woman begins to question her right to feel, to express, or to defend herself. This type of silence is not golden. It is a cage. And it often starts early in relationships, romantic, professional, or even among friends and family. It begins with subtle phrases like "you're too emotional" or "don't tell anyone about this, it'll cause problems." These phrases are not about harmony. They are tools of manipulation. They are ways to strip a woman of her voice so that someone else can stay comfortable, unchallenged, or unexposed. But silence can have deep consequences. When a woman is trained to suppress her truth, she begins to carry shame for things that were never her fault. She begins to live in fear of judgment instead of standing in confidence. She loses the ability to trust her own voice, and slowly she stops using it altogether. That silence over time doesn't bring peace. It brings internal conflict, anxiety, and deep emotional fatigue. This is why it's crucial to recognize this request for what it is. When someone consistently asks you to stay silent, especially in moments that require honesty, boundaries, or justice, they are not asking for maturity. They are asking you to disappear. And you must never allow yourself to become invisible, just to keep someone else visible. Your voice matters. It holds your truth, your story, your experiences, and your wisdom. When you speak, you don't just protect yourself, you give others permission to do the same. And when you refuse to stay silent, you remind the world that you are not someone to be muted or minimized. You are not too much. You are not too emotional. You are not overreacting. You are aware. You are wise. You are powerful. And the moment you recognize that someone is trying to silence your strength is the moment you must step back, reclaim your voice, and stand in your truth without fear, because the woman who protects her voice protects her life. Time is one of the valuable assets a woman possesses. It's not just the ticking of a clock or the turning of a calendar. It is the very rhythm of her life, the container of her dreams, her efforts, her energy, and her moments. When someone asks for your time, they are asking for a piece of your life. But what happens when that time is not respected, valued, or reciprocated? What happens when someone keeps asking for more and more of your attention, presence, or availability without ever showing up for you in the same way? That's a pattern many women find themselves trapped in, always being there when someone needs a listening ear, a comforting word, or a helping hand. But when the roles are reversed, there's no one in sight. When someone only reaches out to you when it's convenient for them or when they're in need, but they disappear when you need support. You're not in a relationship, you're in a transaction, one where your time is constantly being withdrawn, but nothing is ever deposited back. And this isn't just about being busy. It's about being taken for granted. If you're constantly adjusting your schedule, staying up late, canceling plans, or putting your own goals on hold just to accommodate someone who never does the same for you, that is not love, and it is not friendship. It is misuse. Your time is not an unlimited resource. Once it's spent, you can't get it back. That's why you must guard it with clarity, with confidence, and with courage. Some people will guilt trip you into giving more time than you have. They'll say you don't care anymore, or you're never there for me, while ignoring all the times you've shown up, sacrificed, and supported them. But guilt is not a good reason to give away your life. You do not owe anyone 24/7 access to you, especially when they haven't earned it through mutual respect and effort. You must learn to recognize the difference between someone who genuinely wants to build something with you and someone who just wants to use your presence to fill the silence in their own life. If they don't respect your time, they don't respect you. It's that simple. Start asking yourself, does this person value the moments I give them? Do they show up for me when I need them to? Or do they only appear when it benefits them? Don't ignore the answers, they are your truth. You deserve to spend your time with people who uplift you, who pour into you, and who walk beside you, not just those who reach for you and they're falling apart. Choose wisely, because who you give your time to is who you give your life to. And your life is too precious to be wasted on anyone who doesn't see that. There are people in this world who don't come with kindness, love or growth. They come with empty hands and heavy demands. They drain your spirit, cloud your peace and exhaust your soul. These are the energy takers, the ones who always seem to need something from you, yet never offer you anything in return. And they exist everywhere, in relationships, in workplaces, in friendships, even in families. For women especially, the expectation to constantly give, to be emotionally available, to understand and be strong becomes a dangerous cycle that slowly empties her from within. It often starts innocently. Someone calls you late at night to vent. Another drops their problems into your lap without. Soon you realize you've become their fixer, their listener, their healer for everyone around you. But no one ever asks how you feel. No one checks in to see if you need a break. These are not coincidences. These are signs. Your energy is not infinite. Every time you give, emotionally, even physically, you're spending a piece of your life force. And when people take that energy without replenishing it, they're not just ungrateful, they're harmful. This doesn't mean you stop helping others or showing compassion. It means you learn to protect your inner space. You learn to recognize when helping someone becomes harming yourself. People who constantly demand your attention but disappear when you need support are not your people. Those who unload their chaos on you but never celebrate your joy are not your tribe. The people who expect you to always be strong for them but can't handle your vulnerability are not worthy of your presence. Your energy should be a sacred exchange, not a one-way donation. One of the most important skills a woman can develop is emotional discernment, the ability to feel deeply without drowning, to care without being consumed. Not every cry for help is a call for your rescue. Not every problem is yours to solve. You are not required to carry burdens that were never meant for you. It's okay to say no. It's okay to take a step back. It's okay to protect your energy without guilt. Setting boundaries does not make you selfish. It makes you strong. It teaches others how to treat you. Because the truth is, people will only take as much from you as you allow. If you give endlessly without requiring balance, you teach others that your exhaustion is acceptable. You were not created to live in constant survival mode. You deserve relationships that fuel you, environments that uplift you, and people who pour back into you. Let go of those who drain you. Release the weight that's not yours. Reclaim your peace. Because when you protect your energy, you protect your future. And a woman with preserved energy is a woman who can build, love, and thrive, not just survive. One of the most subtle yet destructive patterns many women fall into is the constant pressure to sacrifice. It can be beautiful when it's mutual, balanced, and rooted in love. But when it becomes one-sided, expected, or demanded, it turns into something toxic. If someone continually asks you to sacrifice your goals, your peace, your identity, or your joy just to make them feel more secure, you are not in a relationship, you are in a prison of their insecurity. It often starts with small suggestions, but you really have to work so much. Why do you dress like that? You don't need those friends anymore. It seems like care or concern at first, but soon the requests become restrictions. You're asked to shrink your world, lower your ambitions, and abandon parts of yourself to make room for their comfort. And slowly, without even realizing it, you begin to lose your sense of self, not because you want to, but because you're told that love requires it. Let's be clear, love does not ask you to abandon who you are. Love does not fear your strength, your dreams, or your light. Real love supports growth, not control. It wants to see you rise, not reduce yourself. Anyone who feels threatened by your progress does not love you. They love the version of you that they can control. If a person is constantly uncomfortable with your success, your independence, or your confidence, they are not a partner. They are an anchor, and no woman should carry the weight of someone else's fear of her power. You were not created to dim your light for someone else's shadow to feel safe. You were not designed to lower your voice, your vision, or your value to protect someone's pride. You deserve to be with people who cheer when you grow, people who push you forward, not pull you back, people who challenge you to be more, not demand you to be less. And yes, healthy relationships involve compromise is not the same as self-erasure. Compromise is when both people meet halfway. Sacrifice, when demanded unfairly, is when one person walks the entire distance alone. You have a right to your space. A right to your freedom. Anyone who truly loves you will never be threatened by the fullness of your life. In fact, they will want to see it all, your ambition, your beauty, your mind, your spirit, because they will know that your light doesn't dim theirs. It shines beside. So don't apologize for dreaming big. Don't feel guilty for choosing yourself, and don't waste your life trying to make someone comfortable with a version of you that no longer fits your future. Walk away from those who can't handle your part, because the right people won't ask you to sacrifice it. They'll celebrate it. There is a kind of request that may seem harmless at first, but carries deep consequences if left unchecked. It's the request for money or financial support, wrapped in emotional manipulation or disguised as love. When someone asks for your financial help while offering nothing meaningful in return, not time, not effort, not genuine care, you must pause and see that for what it truly is, exploitation. It doesn't matter how close they are to you, how touching their story sounds, or how guilty they try to make you feel. When someone repeatedly asks for your resources but never invests in your well-being, they are taking advantage of you. For many women, the desire to help, nurture, or be the one who saves her. We are conditioned to give, to uplift, to support, especially when someone appears to be in need. But the danger lies in the pattern when giving becomes expected, when your kindness is no longer appreciated but demanded. That's not generosity, that's manipulation. And often the manipulator knows exactly what to say. They'll make you feel like the only person who can help them, like your value is measured by how much you're willing to give, like saying no makes you heartless. But remember this, love doesn't look like financial dependency, trust doesn't require a transaction, and loyalty cannot be bought. If someone is constantly asking you for money, especially when they're not making real efforts to improve their own situation, it's a red flag. If they become angry, distant, or cold when you say no, that's not about financial struggle, that's about control. They are trying to tie your worth to your wallet, and the moment someone makes you feel guilty for setting financial boundaries, they've revealed their true intentions. You must never feel ashamed for protecting your resources. You worked for your money. You earned your stability. You have every right to invest it where it matters most, your goals, your future, your peace. No one is entitled to what you've built, especially if they haven't stood beside you during your struggles. If someone disappears when you're low but reappears when you have something to give, that's not love, it's convenience. Women have every right to protect their finances without feeling guilty. Too many fall into the trap of funding someone's lifestyle addiction or irresponsibility, all in the name of love or friendship. You are not a bank. You are not a safety net for grown adults who refuse to take responsibility. Generosity should come from choice, not pressure. So trust your intuition. If something feels off, it probably is. Ask yourself, am I truly trying to rise? Or are they just trying to ride on what I've built? Real connections bring balance, not burden. You deserve relationships where respect runs deeper than financial need. Where your presence is valued more than your pocket. Walk away from those who only show up when they want something from you, because your worth isn't found in what you give, it's in who you are. Sometimes the most dangerous people in our lives are not the loud ones, but the quiet manipulators, the ones who know how to make their requests seem innocent, helpful, even caring, while their true intent is to control. Women are often the targets of this subtle form of emotional manipulation. It doesn't always come through harsh words or aggressive actions. It often arrives with a smile, a soft tone, and carefully chosen phrases that seem supportive, but are actually designed to weaken your independence and confuse your sense of self. You may hear things like, "I'm just trying to protect you," or "You shouldn't have to do this alone," or "If you loved me, you would listen." At first, these words seem kind. You may even believe that the person truly cares about your well-being. But over time, you begin to notice that every suggestion they make involves you giving up a little more of your control. They advise you on how to dress, who to trust, what job to take, and slowly, how to think. Before long, you realize that their help is not really help. It's a form of manipulation meant to keep you dependent and unsure. This tactic works especially well on women who have big hearts, who are naturally empathetic, who want to please, avoid conflict, or keep peace in relationships. But peace built on silence and obedience is not peace, it's submission. And there's a high price for that kind of false peace. Your confidence, your autonomy, your voice. True help empowers. It doesn't restrict. True support encourages your independence. It doesn't suppress it. When someone is truly for you, they will want you to stand tall, not shrink. They'll want you to make your own choices, even if they disagree with them. They'll trust your judgment, not override it. But when someone starts guiding every step you take under the disguise of advisor or a concern, be careful. They're not helping you. They're training you to doubt yourself. Manipulation doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers. That's why it's so important to trust how people make you feel, not just what they say. If you constantly feel like you're walking on eggshells, second-guessing yourself, or giving up parts of your identity to keep someone close, it's time to ask, is this love or is this control wrapped in nice words? You do not need to be managed. You do not need to be fixed. You do not need someone to lead your life for you. You need clarity, space, and people who uplift, not override you. Walk away from anyone who uses emotional confusion to keep you small. Choose relationships that help you become more of who you are, not less. Because the most powerful thing a woman can do is think for herself and trust her own voice above all else. That voice is your guide, and no one should ever be allowed to silence it, not even in the name of love. One of the most powerful truths a woman can learn is that her self-worth is not a negotiation. It is not something to be proven, earned, or bartered for approval. Yet far too often, women are made to feel as though their value is tied to how much they give, how little they demand, or how quietly they carry pain. From a young age, many are taught to prioritize others, to be agreeable, to avoid being a too much, a too loud, or a too ambitious. But this kind of conditioning doesn't produce kindness. It produces self-abandonment, and the cost of that is far too high. When your worth is measured by how useful you are to others, you begin to shrink. You start saying yes when your heart says no. You start tolerating disrespect in the name of love. You ignore your intuition just to keep someone else comfortable. And over time, you forget what it even feels like to live for yourself. That's not love. That's survival. There will always be people who benefit from your low self-worth. They'll take your loyalty without returning it. They'll ask you to lower your standards so they don't have to rise. They'll make you believe that being alone is worse than being mistreated. But here's the truth. Any connection that requires you to doubt yourself, hide your light, or settle for less is not a connection. It's a trap. You must stop handing out discounts on your value. You don't owe anyone access to your life, your time, or your heart just because they ask for it. Love is not about how much of yourself you can lose to make someone else feel whole. It's about mutual respect, growth, and freedom. You are not here to be someone's emotional punching bag, personal therapist, or second choice. You are here to live fully, boldly, and freely. The first person who must recognize your worth is you. When you truly believe in your own value, everything changes. You stop chasing people who only show up when they need something. You stop explaining yourself to those who never wanted to understand you. You stop proving your worth to those who are committed to misunderstanding it. You become the kind of woman who doesn't beg for love. She becomes love. The kind who doesn't chase validation. She lives in truth. The kind who doesn't ask for permission. She takes up space unapologetically. That kind of woman is unstoppable. So don't wait for someone to tell you you're enough. You already are. Don't wait for someone to treat you right before you believe you deserve it. You always have. And don't spend your life proving your value to people who only want to take advantage of it. You are not for everyone, and that is your power. Walk in your truth, stand in your light, and never again let anyone make you question what you already know deep inside, your worth is non-negotiable.